Listening to simply the best metal album review podcast on the internet at 10:30 on a Thursday night, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. My co-host for the evening and the man responsible for the album we will be reviewing tonight, Mr. Robert Cooper. How do you do, sir?
Well, responsible in the way that I'm one of the 80 people that know who this band are, because I can't be cool enough to actually bring the album to anybody. Oh, I love this band.
You're the reason we're not reviewing. You're the reason we're not reviewing the new Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, we're not. No. Well, what a travesty. Oh darn.
Honestly, I'm just looking at what's new this week on Spotify, and that's the only thing that resembles a metal album.
Yeah, I mean, I like Coheed and Cambria. They have plenty of really catchy songs that I enjoy and I like, but, I mean, they're never one of those bands that's like, all right, when's the next release? Yeah, I've never been quite that band.
Meghan Trainor released an album that's going to be in the Peanuts movie, or at least a song. Better when I'm dead. Better tell Winfrey, because that's what we're using when we review the Peanuts movie.
Oh, God. That woman's, like... It's funny because, like, a lot of the sound that is engineered to fit her music is admittedly a nice kind of throwback to a more doo-woppy sort of sound that you find in the 50s and 60s. And that's something I can really respect because it's somewhat unique in today's vapid pop landscape. But then we are reminded that, indeed, it is a vapid pop landscape. And that's why we get the lyrics like a dear future husband, where I'm going to do all the dishes and cleaning, and you go to work, and you bring the bacon, and maybe I'll give you a reward of a little something, something.
My wife and my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, love that song, I'm All About That Bass, No Treble.
The song is horrible.
They love it. Love it.
But, like, it is horrible in terms of, like, message. Like, it's not...
When that...
It's not her ass, sure.
Isn't that really like what it comes down to? Is the damn songs about her ass?
Well, it's about how it is totally okay if you have curves, because fuck the skinny bitches. Because that's really what the song preaches, just as much as it's okay to have curves, because nobody likes girls that don't have curves. Which really, like, how is that anything positive if you're just pushing somebody up by pushing someone else down? Like, come on, man. Like, don't be a dick. I mean, if we were Korea, which apparently in Korea they have opposite songs, so, hey.
Well, I was going to say, what you don't seem to understand is that if you're an oppressed person, you're an oppressed type, if you have been shamed in some way, it's okay for you to put down your opposite to make yourself feel better. Because
well, white people
clearly had it better. Because as we all know, skinny women have always had it better. What with the throwing up and the bulimia and the anorexia and all, and the killing yourself to steak men, have always had it better than women with curves. You see, so it's okay to put them down. Look, fat black women do it all the time, and if black people do it, it has to be cool. Black people don't sing songs.
Hey, you know what? That is very true, because that's how I can get away with yelling, "Dude's nuts" all the time.
There's one thing I've learned in my life is that if black people do it, it's perfectly okay, unless cops are around, in which case nothing they do is right.
Unless you're Billy D. Williams, because Billy D. is smooth as silk.
This is also true. Colt 45.
And 2 zigzags, baby, that's all I need.
Have you seen the people who have been theorizing that the Finn character from Star Wars: The Force Awakens, John, like it's Boyega, I think it's his character, is actually the child of. I've heard 2. I think one's a joke though, but I've heard 2 theories. That one, he's the child of Lando Calrissian and Princess Leia.
That would be amazing.
Hey, and then I've heard a slightly more serious theory that he's just the child of Lando.
Hey, that would be interesting. I mean, what if he's the child of Lando / somehow a descendant of Mace Windu, since, LOL, all black people in the Star Wars universe must be related.
But, what kills me is that if you look, like, a lot of the side characters in Star Wars were black. Like, if you watch A New Hope, half of the there's at least 1 or 2. I mean, they don't last very long. They pretty much announce that they're a part of the squadron and then subsequently get blown up. But I remember there was one mustachioed fellow who was in one of the squadrons who fights it on one of the Death Star attacks. I don't remember there being a lot of black people on Hoth, but definitely one.
Because black people are never where it's called.
Also, and they also don't swim. Hey, welcome to the racist hammer. But yeah, no, there are some black pilots on one of the assaults on the Death Star, if not both of them. So this whole, and this whole idea of, well, there can't be a black stormtrooper. Yikes. Anyway, yeah. So Finn, possibly Lando's son or grandson. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I watched the trailer for the new movie just like many other people. Though unlike some of those people, no, because I don't know when I'm going. I mean, I'm one of those that I'm one of those people that I don't know if you know this, but I can wait because I am cheap. I am used to 1, being disappointed, and 2, being cheap. So
well, let me tell you what my experience was that night, because I have a friend coming down to Florida. This is my oldest best friend, and we decided that we wanted to see the new Star Wars movie. Well, he decided that we were going to see the new Star Wars movie together, and he's making a big trip out of it. So he finds out like the day before and sent me a message that Disney World here in Florida is going to do a premiere at Downtown Disney, and then there's an after party at Hollywood Studio in like the Star Wars area of there, and there's a Star Wars launch bay, and then there's a Star Wars fireworks display and all this other stuff, and they're encouraging people to come in costume, but don't bring any plastic weapons because someone might get hurt, because that's the world we live in. And the tickets are like $100. So for $100, you get a movie and an after party at the premiere. And there were like 3 different kinds of movies. There's a 2D, there's an IMAX 3D, and I think just regular 3D. And because of the server issue not being able to withstand the tidal wave of nerds trying to buy tickets Monday night, we ended up with 4 pairs of tickets. 2 regular, 2 Walt Disney World. Not even joking about that. That's how serious we were about getting tickets. We decided, fuck logic, just buy tickets and we'll worry about who needs to refund what later.
Bunch of nerds.
Honestly, the person who I feel the worst for in all this is my wife, who has had to just put up with this and she's been a real trooper about it. She's like normally this sort of thing gets me, hard looks and even harsher criticism from my wife, who's just like, seriously, you're a father of 2 children. Fucking grow up already. But on this one, she's been like, all right, I know this is your thing. It could be worse. You could have a drinking problem. So, up to it. Try not to spend the mortgage money. That's all I ask. And make sure that you're home. The next day to watch your kid. I can't argue with her.
Well, yeah, that's good. That is good that she will accept the fact that you are going to go nuts over this, and that is totally fine. Because I have to say, that new trailer really kind of put away some of my fears that we're going to get another Phantom Menace. I mean, I know it's not done by the same guys, but, I mean, I don't know. You get paranoid when you love something a lot. Like, this movie, I guess, album's coming out in January. I am worried it's going to suck like Super Collider just because that's what they did last time.
Well, look, I was, when they first started making, when there was first talk of what this new Star Wars, it was about, like, it centers around Luke's missing hand from The Empire Strikes Back and his lightsaber and all this stuff, and they were introducing all these new characters and whatever, and it was going to be, and then they were throwing out the expanded universe, which, by the way, there's a very funny segment on this from The Daily Show the other night. How the expanded universe from the novels is no longer canonical. Yeah, I, like many other nerds, raged out and was like, that's it, this new movie's going to suck, fuck Disney. It's just, I went crazy like everybody else. But over time, J.J. Abrams and Disney have won me over, and I'm hopeful. I don't, first of all, nothing's as bad as The Phantom Menace. And, you said, like, they were responsible. There is no they. It was only one person. It was George Lucas, and nobody telling him no. So that's how we ended up with The Phantom Menace. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's a whole, listen, in Disney I trust. Disney hasn't messed up Marvel, and if anything, I think they've made it better. Disney hasn't messed up Pixar, and nobody holds cars against them. Not when they make movies like Inside Out, and apparently The Good Dinosaur looks like it's going to be amazing. So, like I said, between Pixar and Marvel, I mean, Disney isn't Warner Brothers. They don't have a track record of failure. So, I'm okay with this. I'm okay. I think Star Wars is going to be okay.
Could you imagine? Let's imagine for a second that Warner Brothers bought out Lucasfilms, and we got a Zack Snyder directed Dark and Gritty.
I just fucking quit, Rob. I would quit. I don't know who I'd be giving my notice to. I don't exactly know how that would work out, but I would have just held up a sign on Facebook that says I quit.
I'm just mad because that's the other side, because that's what fucking every DC movie has been like. Yeah, like some dark and gritty reboot, which worked for Batman because Batman is dark and gritty within like the constraints of his own character, because he's a very what's the term? Thug level. I'd say he's like a very like kind of lower level sort of superhero, kind of like Daredevil, except he kind of gets caught up in the big stuff. But Superman, no. And I, for some reason, I could just see them doing that. Like, oh yeah, you know what we need with our Star Wars? We need Luke to be really, really angry. We need to get another origin story going, and we need Luke. We need Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru to die with a tornado.
That look like dicks, hard dicks, and everything needs to be seen its own. Look, I'm optimistic.
I hope it is as much of a feminist icon as Sucker Punch.
I know it, as much as I've ragged on Warner Brothers publicly, and as much as I've done an entire podcast talking about, how at this point I just want to walk up to Warner Brothers studio and says, will you please fucking hire me before you put out another piece of shit? Let me help. I'm here to help. I'm optimistic about Batman versus Superman. I really am. I think Dawn of Justice is going to be okay. I'm anxious for sure, but I don't think this is. I don't think it's as bad as Man of Steel was. And I liked Man of Steel. I saw what they were trying to do, and I've defended it. And I will again.
Yeah, the internet actually made me dislike it. Like, if you like when you like something, and then someone kind of points out some flaws. Like every time I listen to 13 by Black Sabbath, I hear the fact that it's a cover album.
Sorry.
Well, besides like the first two songs, which I legitimately really like, even though they're really long, like every time Loner starts, I'm like, oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those, like, I'm still a fan of it. I still like it. It's just, I know there are flaws.
Right. No, Man of Steel is a flawed movie for sure, and I've watched enough, like, Cinema Sins and honest trailers and stuff like that to see what the problems are. But it's still a movie I will defend on, I think, its merits. I saw what it was trying to be, and I'm okay with a dark, gritty Superman. I really am. This is what they were going for. So, like I said, I'm okay with where they're going with Batman versus Superman, this whole DC connected universe. But what I wanted to say before, and then we'll actually start talking about this freaking album that we decided to do. If you go on eBay right now, the tickets that I was talking about for Walt Disney World premiere of The Force Awakens, somebody has tickets on there for $2,000. $2,000 when Cooper. Somebody's got them up there for $1,000 as well. I've got a few on my watch list because I'm just curious to see what crazy person is willing to spend that much money on movie tickets. And it's not like you can't. I mean, this isn't like the old days where there was like one showing and that was it. And if you missed it, fuck, you weren't making it. They do multiple showings now at the same time and different types. So like if you can't get into like the IMAX version, there's a 2D waiting for you. I mean, like I said, we ended up with 4 sets of tickets. And if you really badly want to see, want to be one of the first people to see this movie, you still can, find tickets in, different theaters. But I mean, like the Walt, and then I don't even think that the Walt Disney one's completely sold out yet. It might be by now. But I think that night there were still showings available. They were between 7 and 8 o'clock, and there were multiple showings. So it was like 7, 7:05, 7:15, 7:20. You know what I'm saying? Like they just blocked out this entire theater for an hour to show The Force Awakens and then ship everybody off to this party. I get $2,000. Like who the fuck has that kind of money just to spend on Force Awakens tickets? Because I feel like if you have the kind of money to spend $2,000 on the Walt Disney World premiere of The Force Awakens, you don't watch Star Wars movies.
Yeah, either that or you're just a spoil sport.
Probably. All right. Let's get into Thrawsunblat II, The Wanderer. Wanderer on the Continent of Saplings. So this was your pick. Tell the people, why did we pick it?
Oh, why did I pick it? Oh, good question, Mark Radulich. Well, I guess I should probably, before I answer that question, I'll just start with, well, how did I find this band? Well, 2013, last year, I wrote the final year of me writing the Hammer of Doom news report on 411mania.com until further notice, since school. I was doing my usual top 50 list, and, that December month is my final push of procrastination to finish as many albums as I could. And I had gotten through a lot of them, and I had like a handful that I was going to save for the last week or so before I started writing up my list. And a friend of mine that I found listening to the old Springfield, Illinois Monday Night Metal. God, I missed that. His name was Keith Bynum, and he was like, "Hey, Coop, know you love Woods If You Pray. Here's the band that the other guys from their last album did." So I was like, okay, I'll finally give them a shot. So I added it to my list and listened to a few other really good albums. And when I heard that album, when I got the Thrawsunblat, I was just like, holy shit, I have listened to something really beautiful. And the funny thing is as I listened to it more, I found new things to love, because this album and this band, really, even their first EP, which is much more of a straight black metal release than a lot of the folk influences that are in this album, it's still, there's something new every time, because even though, yes, it is folk metal and black metal mixed together, you find new things that you like, or you can, to like and love, lyrically, musically, and just every time you go in there, you're like, wow, okay, I didn't know that. Like, I'm mulling through the lyrics here. About halfway through right now, and it's really, really interesting. Just some of the ideas, because going through their first EP, which was Canada 2010, really sad that's not available in CD form. Like, because Jesse and I were going to do that along with the second part of our Woods of Ypres podcast, but Woods of Ypres took 2 hours, so we were like, there's no point in this, including an 8-song EP on top of this. But going through it, was a lot of really interesting ideas. But one of the central themes was nature always finding a way. And that was just something that was legitimately interesting. And reading stuff like that really made me fall in love with the band more. That's why I kept insisting, like, Mark, we must do Thrawsunblat. I will even do Limp Bizkit for Thrawsunblat. And that's some love right there. That's when you know you love a band.
That's quite that's a sacrifice.
When you offer one of your few free nights to review Limp fucking Bizkit.
Our next podcast, my friend.
I know. Just you wait. Watch me deconstruct Limp Bizkit lyrics with every fiber of my college-educated being. But yes, Mark, since I have just waxed poetic on one of my favorite bands, what do you think about them?
I like them. I mean, let's get into this. I thought it was fun that they were from Canada. I don't hear, when you think of Canada, you think of Nickelback, unfortunately. So it's nice to hear music out of Canada, that isn't the one band that plays at Epcot every year, or Nickelback for that matter. So let's get into this. This is track number 1, Life Lord Revelation. Which the first time I heard it, I thought like the opening was done by Elton John. So you'll hear what I mean in just a moment. This is track 1, Lifelong Revelation. piano bit there, It sounded very, Oompa-like, reminded me a lot of Fintroll. But I also remember the very first time I heard it, like I said, it was just like what the fucking Elton John playing this band? That's some piano they got going right there.
Yeah, that's actually what really kind of blew me away when I was listening to this album again, because when I listened to it the first time, I think I kind of think I acknowledged this song but didn't really get into it. It was actually when I was walking on the campus of my college listening to this song, and I just kind of stumbled across this one again, and I was like, holy shit, one, this is really catchy, and two, I really, really like this because it never really loses the feel that the piano has throughout the song. It still has that very, what type of feel would I say? Piano-y. There we go. Yeah. I almost want to say like an Old West sort of feel, just with the saloon sort of idea, but I just love the feeling that the piano really adds to the music because it's still got that dense sort of black metal sound to it, but it's still filled up with the kind of the heavy piano in there. And it's a nice contrast that really brings the song to life, I think.
No, absolutely. Okay, let's go to the second one here. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I wasn't quite done with it.
No, I'm sorry. No, you stop talking. Go, do your thing.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say more things and then be like, anything else you have to say before we move on to the next one?
No, honestly, if you let me talk right now, I'm going to talk to you about Danzig's upcoming covers album.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to count you down. You have 10 seconds, this madness.
So, looking through the lyrics of it, I know I read some of an interview with Joel Violette, the singer and guitarist of this band, talking about how this is very much a concept album. And looking through, I'm about to track 6 here, just kind of reading along. I feel like it's not as much one story because as this song talks about, it's a cyclical sort of rebirth. So it's not necessarily the story of one life, I feel like. It's the story of many lives being kind of recycled in and then rebuilt as a new person. Because it starts off talking about how, we have a really advanced world that's disconnecting us from, like, the beauty of nature and, like, a lot of the myth and magic that came with the older world. But interestingly enough, I liked when it was brought up that man's imagination really can stretch farther than a computer. Like, you can always kind of see beyond even the cold, hard calculations of technology and metal. Not that metal. But even today, like, we still build new myths, and a lot of them are still the same as the old. That's the cycle I feel like it's talking about. And at the end of it, it's talking about you can be reborn in the cycle, but you have to die, and that you have to wander on the road of 1,000 trials. And I feel like what it's saying there is that it says you have to destroy yourself and rebuild it anew. I don't feel like you're saying anything literally, but it's destroying the person who you are and experiencing so many new things that there's no way you can be the same person because you've had so many new experiences that it rebuilds you into somebody that's a lot more whole. So there you go.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're focusing on nature, but not like like a preachy way, more of almost like a religious context, which is fine, and like interesting sort of take on the subject of music. All right, let's move on to track 2. Once Fireveined. Someday my friends will come, someday. So what's that one all about?
The way I kind of saw it is that the character that's kind of speaking, because I'm not quite sure if this is the same character as the beginning, that's referenced at the end of the beginning, because oftentimes that character is referenced as water. You'll see as we go along further on our journey. But the character that's kind of speaking in this is talking about how pretty beautiful they find war to be, like asking why nobody really strives for it, because the person feels that life is bound, and that those who don't really seek any sort of war, or perhaps even just human conflict. I'm wondering if it even stretches just deeper than that, strikes for something adventurous or conflicting with their ideas, are considered dead above the ground. That's the exact words that it uses. And I kind of relate this to a song from Woods of Ypres' third album, Woods 3. Your Ontario town is a burial ground, and it's just him talking just pretty much about how the people he sees from his days, when he lived in a small town, that just stayed there and never did anything with their lives, but just, live out small town life. He just saw them as just dead, just, living out a meager existence for nothing. And I always found it something really interesting, not necessarily something I always agree with, but an interesting perspective. And I'm wondering if that's where that idea came from here with the character speaking in this song. But it's very interesting. I love the music in this song. One Fire Vein is a really, really fun song. It's got a lot of cheap kind of hooks to them. There's another heavier black metal sound to bring you in, but there's still enough folk kind of keep you there, and enough dynamic range to get through. You don't get bored upon report upon listen.
See, it's funny. You keep calling them black metal, and I suppose that's right. But like I said, I get more of a folk metal feel from them, and maybe that's because I was focusing more on that first track. But I definitely feel like some of the music swings in that direction.
Well, I feel like they're like a black metal band, because when you hear the first, that is pure black metal there, but with some folk influence, just like in Wood 5, which you should hardly listen to that podcast, all 4 hours of it. They took secondary influence, and I feel like brought it closer to the main front to make a nice marriage between the two sounds, and I feel like it really works. That's why I was really interested in seeing if they'll go along that route, continue bringing forth their more folk influences, or maybe see if they just stay on the path, because Wood Bray was on, they started out as a black metal band, progressively got clear as they went on. But there's some bands that try a kind of a mixture of their influences at once, and then just go back to one or the other, and just kind of stay there. Kind of like Opeth. Opeth just kept going until they're like, yeah, guys, we're going to play prog rock now. Just letting you know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to track 3. This is We, the Torchbearers. listened to that, I said, you know who they remind me of, actually? They remind me of, like, a pagan, wood, spiritual version of Cradle of Filth. Like, they're coming across to me as very theatrical, but they're more like, you know, in a wood nymph kind of fashion, as opposed to the, you know, demon fucking a nun fashion.
You don't say.
How would you describe Cradle of Filth? Well, they sound like a demon fucking a nun. Oh my God, where did you get that from? One of the T-shirts.
Yeah, I could see that. Whereas Cradle of Filth have more of they do black metal, but I'd say their style is more kind of baked in the shock rock sort of Alice Cooper mold of black. Not quite that sort of black metal, but I guess I say that's kind of where their influence are. They're a very theatrical band, and not in the way that some bands like Gorgoroth are. It's like, yeah, here's pigs, dead pigs, big blood on you. Have fun.
Here's some pig's blood. Have a good time.
Oh, yeah, they do that. They legitimately have done that multiple times. And I think that's hilarious, mainly because some of the people are like, oh, my God, how could they do that? I am like, well, how did you not know they did that? I mean, you are front row at a Gorgoroth show, for Christ's sakes. Like, your dumbass kind of should know what you're signing up for. Bless you.
Anyway, about the song.
Yeah. Okay. So about the song, I feel like this song was something, again, perhaps another perspective, but I kind of see this as an album of even when the main character isn't there. It's a perspective that's being brought to kind of be reincarnated in the spirit of the wanderer. Because talking about in We the Torchbearers, I feel like if you lose a loved one, some people like the fire of their innocence, you know, it's, as it says, it's gone, it's snuffed out, which is interesting because in the last song, I felt like it was using fires of more of a war, like the fires of war instead of the fire of, you know, human spirit. But it's talking about in order to stop it from stealing your sacred fire, kind of leave who you were dead with your family. Again, more of that idea of a figurative, spiritual death to bring yourself to someone as someone new. You know, carry that memory as a loved one of your loved ones to help reignite that torch. And then it talks about becoming a modern-day Baldur, who is the Norse god of love, peace, forgiveness, justice, light, and purity. Or perhaps even a modern-day Persephone, which I was like, oh, yeah, it's that girl. The one that's like, yeah, goddess of nature. And then Hades is like, you're mine, bitch. And then she's like, no, I'm back.
You're mine, bitch.
You're mine, bitch. That's a very Hades thing to say. Not even like the James Woods Hades from Hercules. It's just like I feel like that is something that Hades would say. Just snarky, totally.
I could say you're wrong. Can't disagree.
What? No, okay, that's good. That's good because if you did, I've had no base to really defend myself.
Sorry, I know it's like I'm sure you must feel like it's pulling teeth with me tonight, but I listened to this album a couple of times and I'm getting a lot out of your sort of interpretation of things or your ability to sort of pull meanings out of the songs, but I'm hearing them and again, it was I liked it while I was driving, liked it while I was doing notes today on the computer, but I haven't heard anything yet that really jumps out at me as something I can really comment on beyond what I've already said. Let's go ahead and listen to track 4. This is actually, I think this one does. This one did stand out to me. Tell you in a moment. This is Goose River, Mourner's March.
through the day, on down to the bay. We'll claim old Goose River Point. So haul on your mugs and growler jugs. It's a long road, but not as long as the dry road. We'll drink the ale and spin many a tale of our comrades' final days. We'll pour out the beer for the one not here. Cheers me boy once more. Cheers once more, me bye. It's a long road and the sorrow love. Oh, oh, oh. It's a long road and the sorrow love. Cheers me boy once more. Cheers once more to you long.
Okay, I love that song. That's outstanding. Love it, love it, love it. Think it's amazing. It's so different than anything else on this album. I mean, it sounds like a traditional folk song. I'm pretty sure it's the one song that got cut from the first Hobbit movie, the dwarves sing in Bilbo's house.
See, I was waiting for you to just whole references left and right because there was a.
What reference were you waiting for me to make?
Jethro Tull.
No. No. I don't listen to Jethro Tull where it would have registered. Look, if you're wanting me to make references on things that matter to me, always go Lord of the Rings first before you go Jethro Tull.
That's true. That is true. Even though I think, I don't know, Jethro Tull has had a lot more influence on metal than Lord of the Rings. Just asking.
Let's not talk about that.
But yeah, this song, this was by far my favorite every time I've listened to this album because even though I don't feel as though it's a necessarily deep song lyrically, I feel like it always kind of resonates to whoever's listening because I feel like it's about going somewhere and just going on a trip and honoring someone you love, pouring their ashes, down somewhere they loved, and just coming back to just celebrate their life and enjoy some time with them, and I don't know, I guess in their spirit. I think that's just something it's a really nice concept, no matter what you believe. It's just something, a nice trek with some good friends and some good mead to come honor a fallen loved one or friend. It's just something really special.
We were talking about this with the Clutch review about how, Clutch has a certain vibe, a certain sound, a certain tenor, and then occasionally they'll do something like, The Regulator, or, hey, did you ever end up listening to the one I told you to? Oh, fuck, the name of it. Who's Been Talking?
I did.
Or Gravel. Did I tell you Who's Been Talking or Gravel Road?
It was Gravel Road, I think.
Yeah, it was Gravel Road. Okay. Who's Been Talking cover? So what did you think of Gravel Road?
I thought it was pretty good. I really dug it. Definitely gonna listen to it again.
Yeah, see, it starts off, like a bluegrass song, and then it breaks into this other thing.
Yeah, that was interesting, and I really don't like bluegrass, so that was impressive that I liked it even more, because it's funny. Like, I thought bluegrass was like, yeah, it's like blues, just a little more country. No, it's just like country, but a little more country.
Picking and spitting. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I was stuck listening to a lot of bluegrass when I worked unloading the trucks, because that was what would come on after the fucking NASCAR race that I was stuck listening to.
Oh, poor Rob. I hear a lot of stuck listening to in that sentence.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to track 5 here. This is Bones in the Undertow.
Perfect.
go from very clear melodic vocals to screaming. It's got that pretty heavy beat to it, very up tempo. There's some contrast in the way that in the tempo of the song and the way that he's singing it. It's definitely one of the ones that stands out to me more than sort of the traditional growling you hear in a black metal band. So I really like that one.
Yeah, this is actually probably the latest song that I came to really come around to. It was funny when I was reading reviews for this album, after I, of course, reviewed it myself, since I'm a upstanding critic and do not look at any other reviews beside my own before I write them. A lot of people would cite Bones in the Undertow as their favorite, and I was like, I don't really remember that being all that, anything all that special. But then listening to it again, it's really kind of a different song. It has a slower...
Can I say something about you for a moment, though?
Yeah.
I feel like at the time that we've been doing this show, you tend to favor kind of two things, and sometimes those things kind of smash together. And this is in no way like an insult, but you seem to tend to favor like the straight growling, sort of almost like that deicide, keep hitting the crash, growl over it kind of metal. But you're also into like Opeth, sort of melodic, the kind of shit that puts me to sleep. And so I guess on the one hand, I'm not surprised it took you a while to come along to this, because I don't know how much of this song is really in your wheelhouse. On the other hand, I'm a little surprised because the song is so good. I think on its own merits, staying away from style preference and whatnot, I think it's a pretty well constructed song. So I'm a little, if you understand what I'm saying, I'm a little surprised.
Well, the reason that it took me so long is because what I often do when I have a CD of something is I just kind of skip to the song I like. So, I would often, if I'm in the mood for it, I'll listen to the whole thing. But usually I'll just kind of skip around. And I finally just kind of landed on this song. And I think what really sold me on this song at first was the guitar solo in the middle. I was whistling it to myself at work one day, and I'm like, I think I really like this song. And then I listened to it 10 more times or something on a loop, because I was like, the song's fucking amazing. And it is, because, I do tend to have a love for really, just fast and furious, heavy death metal and black metal. I'm really weird, because I love really complicated things, and I really love really uncomplicated things all at the same time. But I don't like things that are uncomplicated in a way that makes them too easily accessible.
So I got to change topics, as we often do here on the show. I need your help with something.
Uh-huh.
So as we've been talking, something caught my eye. I upgraded my computer's software, and in doing so, iTunes automatically updated. Updated is what I should have said first. And so I was actually just going to close iTunes when something caught my eye. It was a picture of Tinkerbell. And I'm like, oh, what album is this? And it's We Love Disney. Now, here's what I need help with. This appears to be a covers album.
Is this the covers album you're referencing the whole time?
What?
I thought you said you've been reading something about a covers album for the past 10 minutes.
No, I mean, this is just in the last maybe minute or so as we've been talking. Here's what I need your help with. I'm going to read you the song and the artist, and can you tell me who some of these fucking people are? And if you just have a sort of a reaction, some of them are obvious, Fall Out Boy. We both know who Fall Out Boy is. But I just kind of want to get your reaction to this track listing. Are you ready?
I am ready.
And you're somebody who's familiar with Disney movies, so these songs should not be a big surprise to you. Okay, so Friend Like Me from Aladdin, as covered by what's a Neo? N-E-Y-O. Any idea?
No, not Neo. He's one of those smooth, not necessarily smooth, but he's one of like the more R&B sort of like, you know, those guys that have a decent voice and look pretty good shirtless in a tub for the girls in their music videos and can dance a little bit. Like almost like the Chris Brown sort of vein. That's kind of what not in terms of beating women, but kind of sort of that idea. That's what I equate him as. He is like the Chris Brown vein of like, yeah, hip hop. I found. I mean, here's the weird thing. Just side tangent. I always find it really hard as a white guy who doesn't listen to much rap, R&B, or hip hop to classify rap, hip hop, or R&B without offending somebody who is a fan of rap, hip hop, or R&B. Like that time, I was like, "Yeah, guys, ICP's kind of hip hop." And they're like, "No, it's metal." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up. They're not metal." Like, "You're just saying that because you don't like them." I'm like, "Listen here, motherfucker. I know my metal. I just gave all you bastards a 5-minute presentation on the four main pillars of heavy metal. I'm not going to tell you something wrong." But yes, Neo is, oh God, that is a bad idea. Ugh.
This album so far, and it's not even out yet. It doesn't come out until October 30th. The 4.5 stars with 113 people reviewing it on iTunes. All right, so track 2. Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid by Jessie J. Who is Jessie J?
Oh, boo. Sorry, I'm looking for a charger.
All right, we seem to have lost Rob for a moment while he charges his phone. Let's go ahead and while I wait for him to come back, actually, I'm going to read these. I'm going to have to read them again when he comes on, but just to sort of kill a little bit of time here. There's Can You Feel the Love Tonight in Nance, Ingonyama from The Lion King by Jason Derulo. Here's Rob again.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My phone died.
It's okay. I got it. So did you hear that Can You Feel the Love Tonight / Nance Ingonyama by Jason Derulo? Don't know him either. Don't know what a Jason Derulo is.
Okay, Jason Derulo is Chris Brown, but worse because Chris Brown can at least somewhat sing without auto-tune. This is mediocre. So who did I miss between Jessie J and Jason Derulo?
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, Jessie J is, I think, what was it? She did a Queen cover. I could have swore. Was that the Olympics, maybe? Shit. I don't remember, but I remember just being like, ugh, she's not that good. She's not very good, really.
Okay.
Like, she's another one of those British pop singers that they tried to make a big thing here that probably are not going to go anywhere.
Okay. Well, you'll love this next one. And I have to say that this song, The Rainbow Connection from the Muppet movie, is very special to my heart. It's very special to my dad's heart. The song that when we hear it, you know, it's for whatever the reasons are, it just tugs on the right strings for my dad and I, and it touches us. And the person that got to cover it, Gwen Stefani.
Okay.
Yeah. So this really emotional song that the fucking Muppet sings.
Like, Gwen Stefani is not necessarily an offensive choice. It's just, I don't really see her as a sort of emotional singer.
The Rainbow Connection. Like, I know, like I bet he was going to say, how do you go from Spiderwebs to the Rainbow Connection, or what's the one she did with the rapper, Hey Ladies, or, no, Hey Baby, was that it? Hey baby, the girls say, the boys say.
Yeah, I don't remember who she did that with, but like she's more of like a fun sort of pop thing. I don't see her doing many emotionally heavy songs.
Am I wrong about that? Is the Rainbow Connection not an emotional song?
I'd like to think so.
You think it is or it isn't?
Yeah, well, I'm saying yes. I'd like to think it is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see how she would do a good job of that. But this gets even worse. Zero to Hero from Hercules by Ariana Grande. Now, isn't that something they serve at Taco Bell?
That's I could see her maybe pulling that song off since it's got a sort of Showgirls Vegas-y sort of feel, because I feel like that's the musical style of Hercules, was like Grease meets Las Vegas. So I could maybe see her pulling it off if they make it sort of a fun thing.
Who's Ariana Grande?
Oh, she's now I just got the Taco Bell joke. Oh, good one, you. She's
Somebody commented recently about the Martian review. Somebody that follows me on Twitter, he's giving me comments. He seems like a good guy, but I think he was like, I think he was annoyed at our Martian review. And I listened to it once. I didn't think we made that many jokes, but apparently he's like, I was expecting one thing, and then all I got was jokes about whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of how we do things here. But yeah, Ariana Grande is the broad who just did a whole thing about how this country sucks, right?
Yeah, she's like, I hate Americans. I hate America. I'm like, shut up. We're the reason anybody cares about you.
Yeah, because I remember one of the women I work with just took her kids to an Ariana Grande show, and that had just been in the news, and I gave her shit about it. Like, just jokingly, like, I don't really care. But, yeah, so this anti-American singer ended up on a Disney compilation.
Well, she was was she a Disney product? Hold on. Give me, 10 seconds. I can find that out real quick. Ariana Grande, let's see, Disney. No, okay. She's the one who did Nickelodeon. She did, she was the one that did the show Sam and Cat, which every time I'd be watching my Power Rangers, because I'm an adult, I'd be watching that, and they'd have an advertisement for it. And for some reason, the voice that she chose for her character in the show was like something like this. Like really it sounded like it was really whiny and annoying and sounded like she was like on something the entire time. And that's what she chose for her character. And it was one of the worst. Like every time I heard her talk, I just want to kind of just flicker in the vocal cords. Just one of those hard flicks that make you go just once. Because, I mean, otherwise she's not bad to look at, but yeah. Ugh. Next.
So the next one is In a World of My Own / Very Good Advice from Alice in Wonderland. I'm wondering if that's from the original Alice in Wonderland or from the Tim Burton Abomination.
Oh,
I don't know even this. Jhene, and the E has like a mark over it. Last name Aiko, like Aiko.
What was that? J what?
Jhene space AI.
Aiko.
Aiko on and on. All right, next one is
that.
The next one is I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book. That's done by Fall Out Boy.
What? How is that style? That doesn't work with their style at all.
Well, I'm sure they'll do it like they did the one Michael Jackson cover that they did, but just, just pump it up and it was fine.
Beat it. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas by Tori Kelly. I don't know who that is.
Who? Okay, let me say Tori Kelly. Is that an R and
Tori
Kelly. Here we go. Who is Tori Kelly? Okay. Let's see. An American singer and songwriter who slowly gained recognition after posting videos on YouTube at the age of 14. She went on American Idol. You know what? This is going to make me sound like a douchebag, but I'm like, the kids that are like, get popular singing on YouTube. On one hand, I'm like, good for you. On the other one, I'm like, so easy. I mean, not easy. I guess it's easy in terms of if you're good enough, they can see you, but it's annoying because, gosh darn it, I wanted to talk about video games, and now I can't because everybody's doing it. Get off my lawn.
Hey, look, not for nothing, but I have a daughter who's into singing and dancing, and eventually she's going to know how YouTube works and how a video camera works. So I suspect that I'm going to have a daughter who's going to get onto social media, and if that means someone's going to throw money at her, which because she's a child will go directly to me and her mother, I'm all for this. I support this.
Right. Just don't end up Gary Coleman, taking all the money and running.
She'll be well taken care of. A Spoonful of Sugar from Mary Poppins by Casey Musgraves. Any clue?
Casey Musgraves. Nope. Let's see. Musgraves. I love this, like, the first thing I see. Well, at least she's pretty. Does she sing country? Oh, her genre, country, outlaw country. What the fuck is outlaw country?
I don't know. Let's move on to the next one.
Like Willie Nelson country? Oh, shut up. That is dead.
So do you know who Charles Perry is? Because he sings Everybody Wants to Be a Cat from the Aristocats.
You say Charles Perry?
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's actually been released already. Charles Perry. Everybody wants to be a cat.
To be a cat. Let's see. Who the fuck is Charles Perry?
I don't know. Let's move on. A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. All I know is that his song was already released on iTunes. A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes from Cinderella by Jessie Ware. Any clue?
Jessie Ware. Oh, oops. What do we got here? English, pop, R&B, electronica, soul. Okay, whatever.
Okay, so this is my favorite one so far. Let It Go from Frozen by Rascal Flatts.
God, does anybody have what's their names? Let's find this. Does anybody have Betraying the Martyrs? There we go. Their version of Let It Go. Just fucking.
Yeah, I used to play that on here all the time.
I know it used to make me really angry, but really, like, Rascal Flatts, like, aren't they like the sanitized, let your children listen to them country? Like, really harmless, but incredibly light and fluffy and boring. I mean, I don't know anything about country. Quite honestly, I kind of despise country, which this is a metal podcast. Surprise, surprise.
All right, to sort of finish this up, because this has not gone too long. So it's A Small World by the We Love Disney artist. Fantastic. This one's also been released to iTunes. It's Not Easy Being Green by Brianna Whitaker. Yeah. And last but not least, A Whole New World by Yuna. Y-U-N-A. Yuna.
You know what we really needed? Why Should I Worry by Billy Joel again. I mean, I think I told you, that's my favorite Disney song.
All right. There's 20 minutes left here of live time, and we still have 7 songs to get through, so let's do this.
And I didn't even finish, like, talking about track 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, by all means.
Because, well, it's talking about a frozen river. Like, I feel like it's a frozen river that kind of thaws, and it's very much a cyclical sort of, again, I equate it back to Would to Be Praised, and that is, I practically did a fucking master's thesis on that with the amount of detail I wanted to put into it. There was a song called Keeper of the Ledger that talked about how nature is a sort of, has a ledger, and it doesn't care anything about you. It just wants your body back. It wants you to what's taken from it is going to get back from you with your body. And I feel like that's what Bones in the Undertow is kind of rooted in. It's about a river that gives life to the fact that it's a river, a body of water, but it also takes it. And the Wanderer shows up, our main character of sorts, and he has to cross this black stream, and it constantly is trying to pull him back in, and he manages to make it through, but not before seeing all the people that pretty much ended up like he could have. People that were coaxed back into that river through some promise of a resurrection or something that never came to be. very interesting, I think. But that's what I had.
Okay. Let's go ahead to track 6. Wanderer on the Continent of Saplings. This is our title track. Okay. I don't have a whole lot to add there, so go ahead.
Oh, let's see. Ooh, this was a really interesting song, but actually, when looking through the lyrics, you realize what some of this album is really about. You ever heard of a guy named Joseph Campbell? I will take that as an
It's been such a long time since I've read anything by Joseph Campbell. I mean, I'm aware of him. I know the relationship to him and like Star Wars and the whole advent of a hero and all that. But what was your point?
Well, this song actually has a Joseph Campbell quote in the middle of it. And in reading about who Joseph Campbell is and his idea of the monomyth, that all of our different mythologies and religions are all one cycle of another. Like, they all meld into one sort of idea that's just recycled through different parts and places. This album makes so much more sense. Because at first I was thinking perhaps it's just an idea of a spiritual journey, but perhaps what the idea of this is that this story here, which I think is perhaps based off of a book of his called The Man of 1,000 Faces, I think, is perhaps what that's built around. And I'm wondering if perhaps this story is just an idea that this sort of idea of mythology is based around this hero's journey and could be another sort of mythology years down the road. And I find that to be incredibly interesting. Like, just knowing that this book exists really makes me want to look at it, just because I find that really interesting, that everything is kind of a cyclical nature, just as the other songs have discussed. I just find that great. But as for the song itself,
one of my friends wrote about Joseph Campbell for his college thesis. Yep.
That's neat.
He got a C. He got a C on that particular paper. And he was just happy that he passed.
Passing.
Yeah, that was pretty much his opinion. He was like, I'm going to graduate college. That's all I care about. And today he is a consultant for a consulting company that works with New York Republicans. So there you go, kids.
Interesting. That's odd. It seems like that seems like a thesis paper that kind of goes against that idea set.
Yeah, it's been a long, interesting journey for this particular gentleman. Anyway, you were saying?
But as I was saying, yes, I feel like it's a character, I'm not sure which character, but it's telling the Wanderer, it's talking about, to speak thy true name, not the one that was of heritage or the name of your bloodline, but really the name, their true name, which I find, of course, because I love Doctor Who, that, the name that they have given themselves once they have actually found their purpose in life. Like in Doctor Who, the main character, the Doctor, we don't know his name. His name is not the Doctor, but that's the name he gave himself. Because he was seen as he sees himself as a great healer, somebody who travels and heals people's problems and teaches them things. And I think that's kind of what this is aiming for. And the Continent of Saplings is, of course, the Earth. I don't know if it's necessarily, I'm assuming it is, of course, this Earth. But the Wanderer has finally found this Continent of Saplings and is holding, of course, some seeds of his own. And I feel like perhaps that is what it's kind of saying we are in terms of kind of maybe an existential stretch of perhaps the song is implying that we are indeed part of this Continent of Saplings, because it talks about how every person has a different seed and carries it, but as soon as it's cast into the earth, it's still growing in the same ground, which is interesting. And the song ends with just a declaration of the fact that the Wanderer is needed to defeat the great nihilist.
Huh.
And dethrone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can see somebody adapting this. I can definitely see somebody adapting this album into something maybe visual. There's definitely room for some storytelling in it.
Mhm. I agree. Hear.
All right, so track 7, if you'll allow me, track 7 is. Huh?
Go ahead. I was just saying, go ahead.
Maritime Shores, track 7.
Continent ocean and all its creatures in motion, but above it all for splendor stands the briny Maritime, where the mist and the rain blast life into me, and the old white pine stand guard over the sea, stand guard over the sea. Oh, I have left her as of time before. Oh, how I long for her maritime shores. I am but one of 1,000 of lore. Oh, how I long for her maritime shores. Oh, how
Okay, I love that song too. This is what I was saying before with the phone song, the one before it. Like you hear an album, and you know kind of immediately after the first couple of tracks what you've gotten yourself into, and then they do the sort of sharp turn in a different direction and give you a different kind of song. And granted, they stayed within the folk element. But I really enjoyed that, and I think like songs like bands rather like Leaves Eyes. Am I thinking of?
I've heard of them.
Where they retain elements of folk to it, and they'll oftentimes sort of focus on just that, and then they'll go back to metal and and some other songs. I really like that. I like the fact that this particular album sort of swung the pendulum back and forth, and so you weren't getting just a steady stream of growling at you with the occasional sort of minor folk element in the background. There are some songs in here, like this one in particular, who if I didn't tell you this was on a metal album, you would think it was in a Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, and this is one of those bands that I don't know if you ever had bands you would ever like send a girl that you like or something, try to get them into metal, like a little toe dip into the bathwater of sorts. And this is one of my. What?
No, seriously. Like, I remember there was a girl in grad school whose pants I wanted to get into, and I can say that because I wasn't really dating anyone at the time. So there was definitely a couple of girls in grad school who I was trying to win over, and this one particular girl, I thought, hey, I'll introduce her to some bands, and she'll appreciate that and want to take pants off. Sure, that always works. And I threw on some stuff from like Clutch Jam Room that wasn't quite as metally, and it was more sort of soulful and country-like. And I remember her saying that it was still too heavy. Like, she didn't think it was terrible. She was just like, oh, that's too heavy for me. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, I'm not saying I would kick her out of the bed for eating crackers, but I remember distinctly liking her less after that. Like, I don't know.
I just went from go Mark Radulich to wimp.
So yeah, there was definitely a period of my life where if you couldn't take heavy metal music, if heavy metal music was too much for you, I liked you less as a person.
Like, there was a guy, I think I've told this story before, but there was a guy at community college. I went to high school, middle school with him, nice guy. Really liked him. And I was talking about music, and he's like, yeah, man, I love some guitars. I'm like, oh, who's your favorite guitarist? Lil Wayne. And I just stopped, and I looked at him like, you fucking kidding me? And I even said to him, like, oh, that's a good joke, man. He's like, nah, I really think he's a really good guitarist. And I'm like, just like looking for the camera, like, what the fuck? So I throw on The Fire and the Fury. I throw on The Fire and the Fury by Firewind, which, to be fair, is kind of it's a bit heavier than Lil Wayne, admittedly. But it's some legitimately good, technical, fast guitar work. And he listens to it, he goes, oh, that was okay. But really, I think Lil Wayne's more my speed. And I went, okay. And I just walked off. I haven't not had a serious conversation with the guy since. I was like, that still pisses me off. So I'm like, you are musically illiterate. You dumbass.
Yeah.
Nobody took Lil Wayne's guitar work seriously. Not at all.
I remember another grad school story. This was actually the year before, the first one. It's funny, I distinctly remember the girl. At least two of the three girls that I was friendly with at the time. But the year before that, I remember listening to music in one of my classes, like before class would start. And I don't remember why I was doing this, but like I was bringing in music to listen to in class, at least at the beginning of class. And I'm in grad school for social work. There was no reason for me to be doing this, but again, it was one of those, like, I have to share what I'm doing with everybody. I have to be in everyone's face. And I think I brought the first Blind Guardian album.
Oh, God. Why would you... That was like... I mean, that's a really good album, but that's more of a speed metal album than something like, let's say, like Nightfall in Middle-earth, to where, yeah, it's cheesy and it's not exactly super accessible, but I feel like there's elements to it that you could bring non-metal fans to that they could maybe at least appreciate. Ooh, yeah, that's a...
There were no metal fans in my classroom. Okay, let's start there. I'm looking on Spotify right now to see if I can find I'll know it by looking at the cover.
I think it was Follow the Blind.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. Blind.
Yeah, it's got.
Blind.
No, Battalions of Fear. I'm sorry. It's got the two robed figures playing like chess or something. The two robed figures playing chess, and there's like a dragon or something with whose eyes are like glowing behind them.
Well, I remember like at the time that that the album came out, I had a friend who worked for Caroline Records. Okay, well, it was not 1988. Jesus, that's how far back this band goes. I was in grad school probably around 2002, but no, it was.
I was in elementary school then.
All right, it was not Battalions of Fear. All the Blind. Not All the Blind. Oh, this is killing me now.
Tales from Twilight World?
No.
Oh, 98 would have been Nightfall in Middle-earth.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It definitely was not Imagination's side.
Somewhere Far Beyond?
All right, it doesn't matter. The point is, by the way, Imaginations from the Other Side is an amazing fucking album. Probably one of my favorites.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a lot of Blind Guardian that I really need to listen to more of.
Anyway, it might have. It was High on Fire. Might have been High on Fire now that I'm thinking about it. In any case, doesn't matter. Anyone listening to this is probably like, dude, get on with it. So the point is, I brought in something that my friend had given me when he was working for a distributor, and he had a bunch of metal albums like Nuclear Blast under that he was working with. And so he gave me something, and he was just like, "Here, I know you're into D&D metal." That's what he called it. And I brought it into school, and I remember this elderly woman, like, and it was not even like that heavy of a song. I'm trying to think it might have been High on Fire. Like the first High on Fire album. And her reaction was like, "Will you turn that off? I can't deal with all that noise." And like I get it. Like certainly, you're playing Cannibal Corpse, like I get like the noise thing. But like this was fairly melodic. I think it was one of the reasons why I brought it. Like if I remember the story correctly, I think that the professor was using music analogies to sort of get across psychosocial points of view and issues, and he was like, okay, when you're talking about global perspectives and everything, think of it like music, and he was talking about how this begat that, and jazz begat this, and that begat no, and then that's how we got to rock and roll. Like, okay, well, think of it that way with people. And so him and I would talk music, and I think I started bringing in things for him to listen to. And I think one day I brought in High on Fire, and this woman just reacted like I had, like sprayed poison in her face. And I remember thinking distinctly, I want to throw you out the fucking window. Harsh reaction, a little over the top, but, this was also several years ago, and I'm not the same person anymore.
Well, obviously, you would get into a pit then.
Oh, boo.
I can't say anything. I don't get into pits because I'm there to headbang and soak in the music and not jump into a massive humanity, even though I did consider it Napalm Death, though that was entertaining. So I was like, wow, that chick with a half-shaved head has a really nice ass. And her boyfriend has the same hair. Huh. Oh, well, so much for that one. But yeah, I've had that reaction to metal before.
It definitely might have been High on Fire in 2002. That sounds about like
Surrounded by Thieves.
Yeah. I want to say that's what I brought in. But I don't know why.
The Evil Motorhead's that's a good band to bring there. I mean, I kind of accept the fact that I'm kind of by myself in some places when it comes to my music. Like the elementary school I'm teaching at, I am the biggest, goofiest nerd there. I don't think anybody likes the same things that I do, which is okay. I'm not there to. I don't really. I mean, my fellow teachers are fine. They're cool. They're cool people. I don't have a whole lot in common with them, but I mean, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to learn how to teach children and hopefully not get burned out in 3 years.
You should have heard the conversation my wife and I were having about that earlier. But let's move on. So the next track here, track 8, View of a Million Trees. I'm done after this. The album that I brought in that pissed this woman off was actually Dream Evil's Dragon Slayer, 2002.
Am I in?
Yeah, no, yes, I unmuted you.
Okay, I wasn't sure when the live audio cuts off, so I got really worried.
No, we were nowhere near ending, so I threw on an extra half an hour. So we have 25 minutes left. That's why when I wrote that, I was like, does he know that we went out, that we're okay? So that's why I was like, yeah, let me quick bring you back on.
Yeah, fucking Blog Talk Radio can eat my ass.
These things happen. Anyway, yes. So okay. So it wasn't High on Fire. It wasn't Blind Guardian. I'm thinking of other things from that period of time. No, it was Dream Evil Dragon Slayer. What was that?
Heard.
Nope, got nothing. I don't know why you're drifting in and out.
Oh. So
okay.
I'm saying that's definitely D&D metal.
All right, so View of a Million Trees. This is 7 minutes and 22 seconds long. We're kind of back to where we started with this band. What can you tell me about it?
Interestingly enough, reading more into the lyrics of the rest of the album, I kind of realized that the idea of reincarnation that I discussed perhaps might be something of a truth to the main character, the Wanderer, because this is about just talking about the Wanderer, because I find that he is actually that person, or perhaps he had taken in the feelings and memories of this person into the cycle of rebirth. But the main character of this is talking about how he was carrying urns of 4 people with him or something up a mountain, and that each one of these people absolutely tore his heart out. Like each person just stabbed, each person who died, it was just like a stab to him, and how really death is a bit of a release for whomever this person is, and is looking up upon the mountain, and it keeps discussing in the song a kind of a funeral, or kind of like was it a funeral in the sky or something? Give me a hot second here, I can find that. A sky burial for thee. So I'm wondering what quite that means. I couldn't quite dig deep enough to see truly what that means. But I just imagine this kind of beautiful landscape of this downtrodden, depressed man with the urns of his 4 of his loved ones, the king of the what do they call him? The sorrowed king. And what I thought interpreted that happened was that death kind of released him as he fell into the trees as he jumped off the mountain and was reincarnated into peace. That's the way I saw it. But I see later in here the Wanderer references this again, so I'm wondering exactly what this means. This really makes me want to go read that damn book just to see if they took the idea of the man of a thousand faces and the mono myth quite literally.
Yeah, from what I understand, like I said, the Joseph Campbell book is enjoyed by anyone who's read it. All right, let's move on here to the next one. This is track 9. This is Bodia, Higher of a Thousand Pines. The riff.
It really was. Like, this is one of those songs that grabbed me immediately because this was one of these straightforward, just really heavy songs on this album. It's one of those that really grips you. This is your sort of thing. And I found it to be a very interesting sort of song because reading into it, it's talking about the Borea, which I don't even know what a Borea is. My Googling of the Borea has brought me to Boreas, the personification of the wind north, son of the Titans, Astrius and Eos, and the goddess of the dawn. So I'm wondering if perhaps it's something to that degree. But I just find it, what, the boreal god. Let's see what we get here. Oh, a boreal forest. Huh. Oh, interesting. A boreal ecosystem is a subarctic climate that's found in North America. Interesting. That makes sense because they're really all about some Canada and that Thrawsunblat. But I said that the wanderer kind of finds himself enveloped in the mist of the autumn, which, of course, is the time of rebirth for many people. And he's captured and placed upon a pyre that was built on the pine that was grasped by the mist of the Borea, which I assume is perhaps, I don't know if that signifies winter coming or not. But when placed upon the pyre and burned, the wanderer finds himself strengthened by all the different wood of the area, and actually kind of comes out of it like renewed by nature, which again I feel like roots back to their 2010 EP, where it talks so much about how nature will find a way. And I'm thinking that perhaps the trees that it talks about in this song are I think maybe the people. I feel like that's kind of what it represents in a way, is that like people are the trees. That's why I talked about the Continent of Saplings is really the world, and how each person has its own set of seeds. But not quite, so literally.
Everyone's got their own seed. Whoa.
Oh, no. Anything you think of?
I think we should go to the next song. Elegy Across the Silence, track 10. Let's just go right into the next song here. Song of the Nihilist. heard an instrumental, and then we went right into Song of the Nihilist there. That seems like it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I've never thought that an organ, a fucking pipe organ solo, the instrumental pipe organ song, would make me listen to all 3 minutes of it like 20-something times. Like, it's one of those, it's not something that I immediately like, damn, I want to go listen to Elegy Across the Silence. But when it comes on, I just kind of find myself entranced by it. It's really just kind of interesting, the way it just kind of comes over you, and you're like, this is really nice, and you just listen to it all the way through. And then you get to Song of the Nihilist, which I feel like is a really interesting sort of way to look at the end of a hero's journey. Not that the final confrontation with the great adversary, the nihilist catches up to the wanderer and tries to break the wanderer's spirit by just telling him, them's the breaks, son. Just everything, everything and everybody's going to let him down. Everything you see is going to die. Everything will let you down. And I love it because the Wanderer brings up that, he's carried his 4 urns of sadness of those that he loves. He's, been burned alive in the trees, in the Borea forest. Just everything that he's kind of persevered through to get to this point and has learned. And I absolutely must quote the song here, because, damn it, this is what I want to put on our shirt. This is, listen to me, O nihilist. I will tell you what I have seen of this earth. When I've done so much death in my time, what can one do but celebrate? What little time there is to exist, what vibrant life burns in those around us. And nothing lasts forever, said the black hole to the star. Look into the mirror and see the black hole that you are. And every step is a mountain. Enjoy the fucking view. See the miles you've traveled stretching out below you. And I think it's really interesting. It's talking about how nothing is forever, and we are like those roaring stars. And everything that we endeavor is really who we are, which is something that I think people sometimes forget. There are a lot of times they're like, well, you're really just a kind of a product of your hardships, which is really kind of true in a way. Like, I kind of help shapes us. Like, any sort of adversary we've come across is something that really helps shape us as a person, whether it be positively or negatively.
I was going to say, I don't think there's any in a way about it. I think you're absolutely a product of your hardships, just as you are also a product of your success. I mean, somebody who is predominantly successful in everything they do, they're certainly going to see the world a certain way, as opposed to somebody who has struggled their entire life and has gotten almost nothing to show for it. My people. People I'm used to dealing with. But I mean, even if you're not on one of those two polar extremes, you are definitely, your vantage point, your personal philosophy, your ability to cope with things, your internal resiliency is definitely shaped, I think, by your success and failures. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's really what the Wanderer defeats the Nihilist with. He ends up killing him there just by, I guess, denying him what he was looking for, which was to break the Wanderer and continue his reign as the great Nihilist of the earth. And I feel like that's a very interesting way to look at it, that this Wanderer, this learner of the world, this wanderer on this earth, ends up defeating the overall cynicism of humankind through pure sheer willpower.
All right, our last song of the night. This is track 12. I Am the Viator. right, good song to end the album too. Very good song, as a matter of fact. Very strong ending.
Yeah, heck, talking about the song of the Nihilist, I forgot how much I love the what it does in the middle when it changes perspective. It totally switches, almost is like a totally different song, and it's really awesome to headbang to while you're driving on the way home. Just saying, just when it kind of hits the guitar part and then the drums come in, you just go crazy. And I'm the Viator's very, very interesting way to end it, because you would figure you would end the journey of a hero with him defeating the great adversary and wandering. But what we find here is that the Nihilist is dead and buried in the earth, but what ends up happening is that nature is not done with the Wanderer, and the Wanderer is caught in a cyclone, a storm of sorts, absolutely destroys everything he has and everything he's built over the past, however long. And what he ends up finding is still that, he can persevere and live through it and come out stronger. And at the end, that after surviving that storm, the Wanderer has become the storm, which is really interesting. What ends up happening is that the Wanderer no longer just merely wanders aimlessly. He's become just a giant, powerful figure at the end of this rebirth cycle. And now the cycle has come to, come back around. And there's a really interesting thing, is the song says the Wanderer's dead, but now he sees it all. And he's become the Viator, which the Viator is like a traveler. But I feel like the difference between that is the Wanderer just aimlessly moves about, just hoping to find something. But the Viator, the traveler, has a goal. So he has finished being the Wanderer, and it's circled back around to him becoming the wise person that mentors the child who will again become the Wanderer. So it talks just towards the end how it's all become full circle, and how the Viator will now return to the Maritimes and release it from all its death and decay that it befell the Maritime as the Wanderer would go through it, even though he has such love for it, and return to the misted areas of the Borea and devour the death and the decay that befell it. And through singing the songs and, tending the fires that the Viator has kind of stoked and sang over the years, he'll end up righting all the wrongs that have happened to him along the way and making everything else better. And I think that's a really nice way to kind of end it, to where, it's at the end of the day, again, the human spirit and the cycle of rebirth kind of ends up winning out in the end, and all that hardship ended up being for the good of everybody. Kind of makes you want to just kind of sit and go, I had a bad day, but damn it, you never know when the pessimistic asshole is going to come and I have to save the world.
All right, so overall, I thought this was a fun album to review.
I agree.
Time. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. It's cool to know this is out there. Again, when you think about sort of black metal or folk metal, Canada does not come to mind. But definitely an interesting album. I'll be looking forward to whenever they release the latest album.
Oh, I'm really stoked for it. I know they said not long ago that they were going to announce pre-order stuff, but I think we're starting to run out of time this year, so maybe we're not going to be able to review the new album until next year, but I guess that means I'll just have to do another Limp Bizkit album or something. I don't know.
I saw an article that says they'll be done with the Limp Bizkit album soon, so maybe we'll do them in the same month. But that does bring us to the end of our show. We have 30 seconds of live time left. But all we're going to get to is plugs and whatnot. I'll let you go first. What are you plugging these days?
Well, not a whole lot. I got this podcast, of course, every other Thursday here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network on blogtalkradio.com, yeah. And then there's the Happy Go Fun Time Power Ranger podcast that I'm totally going to bring back one day, just you watch. Yeah, when I get some time. Cause I've been watching the weekly show, so I've been watching it, so now I'm at least caught up.
You'll have a break coming up soon, right?
Another break?
I'm assuming, Thanksgiving break in November, and then, the Christmas break at the end of the semester. Is this your last semester, or do you still have one more to go?
I got the actual student teaching next semester, so it's every day. Every day I'll be at that damn school. So that will mean I have plenty of podcast listening time on the bright side.
Okay. If you're wondering when our next show is, it'll be in a couple of weeks. This coming Thursday is the last part of our Jaws review for Long Road to Ruin. We'll be looking at Jaws 3 and then Jaws the Revenge. And then we'll be doing the following week, instead of doing this show, we're going to put that off a week, and we're going to do another Long Road to Ruin to coincide with Spectre. We'll be doing Long Road to Ruin presents just the Daniel Craig Bond movies. And then the week after that, we'll be back with our only show in the month of November that I'll be a part of, which is Woot Woot, the best of Limp Bizkit. Ah, yeah.
Oh, God. We're doing it all for the nookie.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Take that cookie and stick it up your ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, stick it up your I forgot.
Stick it up your now, Thanksgiving, I always leave that open for Mr. Cooper and Mr. Starcher to do their own thing if they want. I know sometimes Jesse has an album that he'd like us to do, and I say, no, I don't want to. I'm always willing to take a day off and let somebody else sort of take over the reins of the show. So, last year they did an album that Jesse had been harping about. So this year, if they want to take the time and do another show on Thanksgiving, by all means, I will let you guys decide if you want to do that. But I will not be there. Instead, on the 19th, we'll be doing the Long Road to Ruin Chronicles of Riddick series, and then on December 3rd, the Mighty Ducks. So that's what will be coming up on our Thursday shows. So what?
That's my birthday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Quack, quack,
right.
Quack, 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 quack.
As opposed to the other thing that I'll be doing these days, the Crimson Peak review is in the system. Go check that out. That was Robert Winfrey and Jason Teasley giving their thoughts on the Gothic movie, which just came out this past week. This weekend, Gem and the Holograms and Paranormal Activity both have new releases coming out, and we'll be reviewing them this Wednesday. I'll be spending some time reviewing each movie in the same show. It'll be the first time we're doing a double review, so that'll be fun. On Veterans Day, November 11th, we'll be reviewing Spectre, the new James Bond movie. The week after that, we'll be reviewing the Peanuts movie. Then we'll be taking a break off the day before Thanksgiving. And then we'll be back on December 2nd to review The Good Dinosaur. Apparently is just absolutely fantastic according to early reviews. So that's what we got going on here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And I think that's it. There's a 2-week now old show, Casual Heroes. We did not do a show this week. Go fig. But if you'd like to hear us, if you haven't had an opportunity yet, we have a show from last week that is up on thecasualheroes.net. So there you go. That, you can check out all the other great shows here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. That's Radulich. Go ahead and check those out. All right? Mr. Cooper, any final words?
go listen to Thrawsunblat. If you don't know how to spell the band's name, it's Thrawsunblat. Find them on Facebook. They've got like 3,000 likes or something. They deserve more. They're a really interesting and great band. And hopefully once we're done with this, I'm going to send them a link to this so they can at least tell me whether or not I'm blowing smoke out of my ass on my analysis of the album. But yeah, go like this band. Go listen to the Woods of Ypres podcast Jesse Starcher and I did about a month and change ago. That's probably my favorite podcast ever because that was me literally pouring everything I had into one album. So, thank you for letting me expose you to the wonder that is Thrawsunblat, Mr. Mark Radulich, and I cannot wait for us to do the next album, which I think is like Metacathonic is what it's called, which will hopefully be out sometime soon.
We still need to figure out what we're doing for December, sir.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I mean, heck, if all else fails, we can just do New Iron Maiden.
It'll be only a few months old. I'm looking at the calendar. There's nothing coming out between now and the end of the year that's even like remotely interesting to me.
Yeah, so if we don't get if we don't end up getting new Thrawsunblat, we'll figure something out. We always do. If anything, we'll switch it up since next January has new Megadeth, so we won't necessarily have to do two retrospectives to fill out January. So maybe we could switch it up and do something like a retrospective in January or in December or something. I don't know.
Well, last year we did Weird Al. That was our sort of festive end of the year show. I don't think we haven't actually done a Christmas show. Like it's just play Christmas music.
No, I don't think we did because remember the past few years, it's like we'd always end up either doing a year-end show, which we did a few times, or like last year, where it was just like, yeah, we're going to do as many episodes of The Long Road to Ruin as we can at the end because there's Christmas movies, God damn it.
We could always do that We Love Disney album. Little Fall Out Boy, little Ariana Grande.
I think we are better off re-recording all of the Disney songs ourselves. And we'll do karaoke. We will live stream a karaoke featuring members of the Radulich and Broadcasting friends and family. So if you ever wanted to hear me do Why Should I Worry? Or Colors of the Wind, which I sing while riding a shopping cart down a parking lot constantly. Like seriously, that's what I'll do. I'll just be like, "Come riding the hidden pine trails of the forest," and then like I'll push farther along my shopping cart, and I'll continue singing it until I'm done. Like that's one of the funniest things I found about like women on the internet that I at least hold dad. Like any cute girl on the internet, usually you can be like, "I love Disney movies," and you'll at least have that in common.
All right. And with that thought out of the way, I wish you all be well, be safe, and behave. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Make the holidays spectacular with Moulin Rouge the Musical.
Hey, sister, go, sister, soul, sister, flow, sister.
Winner of 10 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The New York Times calls it glittering, gasp-inspiring. In Moulin Rouge, life is beautiful. Give the gift of Broadway's most spectacular night out. Book now at MoulinRougeMusical.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.